Alrighty then. Here we have a baby goat. Yes. And we're in the garage here. Because we've been taking this little guy inside at night, but he's a little more comfortable outside than inside, so I figured we could split the difference and put this little guy in the garage and aim a heater at him. So we're just making sure the heater's working here. We don't want to cook a goat because I don't think a baby goat would taste all that terribly good. Well, maybe, but not this one. This one's a pet. Huh. Actually, all of our goats are pets. I don't think any of you are any good for eating. You're miniatures. Which means you're, well, not even worth the effort, huh? Especially when they're this small. Nah. So, we got this guy set on 70. It's not too warm. It's probably going to keep on going all night because it's always going to detect that it's above 70. It's never going to actually get up to temperature. So, I'm going to make sure we got a little bit of standoff room. But, got a little blanket over the top of this guy's kennel here. And we're kind of covering it up in the back there. And we'll supply some warm air from this side. And this little bitty baby goat will stay nice and warm. And won't scream all night like he does whenever he's in our laundry room with the kitty. And everybody wins. What you scratching so much for? You better not have fleas, you know? Well, actually, it was probably because he got a bath today, didn't you? Yep. I bet you got soap applied directly to you, so you're probably having some dry skin, I bet. Yeah. So, this should be the best situation for everybody because 70 is probably not what he's going to be at. You're probably going to be a little north of that because it is, I mean, it's hot air coming out. Not enough to burn my hand here, but yeah. You're going to be nice and warm. You're going to be warmer than we are in the house because I still have it set to 67 in there. But, yeah, let's go ahead and de-scarify this cable setup here. Of course, it's a safety thing here, so we'll scrape some of this back so even if the cord lights on fire for whatever reason, it doesn't have much to burn and it doesn't bake a baby goat or propane tanks, which happen to be right there. Yeah. Now, we've used this setup for many rotations of goats, so we'll probably be totally fine. Not usually with propane tanks there, though. That's kind of odd. But, yeah, we should be okay. You gonna be okay, little guy? I'll be back here to check on you a couple of times before I go to bed anyway. And make sure we're not cooking baby goats or burning down my garage. There's the chick heat lamp my daughter brought in here because she misunderstood that I was speaking of this little guy here. This was initially bought for his grandma, so yeah, that is going to be nice and warm. You are going to be so comfortable. Your mom and possibly grandmother, we actually don't know your heritage. They're outside laying in mud even though it's 44 degrees out already. I boarded up their goat house. In fact, let's go have a look at that. Yeah, we boarded up their goat house, but that does not seem to have translated into, I think I'll use the goat house. In fact, I'm betting if we go out here, they're going to be at the gate waiting for me. Oh, let's find out where they are. I can't tell if that's rocks or goats. Oh, somebody's over here. As you can hear, we're quite upset. We do not like being left alone, of course. We're a baby. That's probably the best spot for him. How come you guys never want to be in the goat house? Huh? Look at this nice goat house. I just knocked down a tree over here. There's the roots. Let's see if, that kind of helps. Wow, yeah, there's one goat. You guys pretty much ate all the bedding, didn't you? So, our goat house here, we lost the roof off of it, but, yes, you guys did. Wow, I just smacked a tree. But, we've got this pretty good size opening. I need to, board it up just a little bit more, but I was thinking I would throw the roof on it and put a semi-permanent chain, yeah, it's kind of like a chain link fence over the top of this so the chickens would not be able to escape. I've got roofing wood, and we just plopped it on the top here. And then we had a really good windstorm, and it ripped the roof right off this thing. Well, hey there, Winnie. Yeah, you're kind of a little goat. So, the little goats, which this is the littlest goat right here. Yeah, you're the littlest Billy Goat Gruff. They don't go inside here, which may or may not be because the biggest goat out here headbutts the hell out of everybody that gets in here. So the little ones tend to go around the other side and underneath this thing because it's pretty close to the ground right here, but on the other side there's like a gap that big, and so the small goats, and this is an abnormally small goat. She's about the same size as my cat, which is kind of a big cat. Aren't you? Yeah, you are just comically tiny. In fact, if you were the only goat, I'd probably keep you in a kennel or something because the birds out here would get you. I'm betting that owls have considered you. But, of course, since she's in a herd, that doesn't happen. But she's definitely small enough to be carried off by the chicken hawks that we have out here. Anyway, yeah, so she stays in the basement floor. The bigger goats will stay up here on the first floor. And then the goal was to chop out a section of this and have kind of a chicken coop. But then Mother Nature intervened and we lost the roof. Didn't we? So, yeah, the goats, I believe what they're doing is they're actually sleeping mostly during the day, and then they're kind of active at night, which I don't know if it's because it's hot during the day in most seasons, or if it's cold during the night right now, and they've decided that that's a better way of doing business. Either way, that is the herd queen right there, and it's possibly Quark's grandmother. I don't know. And she is actually a cashmere goat. Her sister had very, very long hair, and it's actually, if you put your fingers into this one's pelt, especially along the sides, you can feel how fuzzy she is. And so I think she stays very, very warm because she's much bigger than the other goats, and she's got that very dense fur. And most of the rest of them, I don't think they actually stay that warm, but they follow her around, and she's warm. So
There are very few of these goats that'll just do whatever the hell they want to do, and that's one of them right there. But he's got a lot of fur too. Oh, goodness, I'm just gonna yawn all up and down and through this video apparently. But they've got a 3.5 side covered barn. They'd rather lay in the mud most of the time. Even when it's very, very cold out. It's, 44 degrees out right now, and these are very small animals, and they don't have thick fur except for this one. And she's probably 70 or 80 pounds. Aren't you, Meep? Maybe 100, I don't know. Nah, probably not 100. Probably 70 or 80. That's a pretty good amount for you. What do you think, Meep? See, you can't really see on camera, but she has just got this very dense fur. Not so much on her face, do ya? Got that nice goatee, though. All the ladies like to be complimented on their goatees, I bet. Boop, boop. Yep. Not so much on the face, but on the back and stuff, she's just got this very dense fur. And her sister actually had hair that hung down from her belly. It's very odd that this one and all of the babies that have come out of her have just not been that way. They've looked exactly like her. But her sister was the same color patterns, more or less. And but with longer fur. Yep. So they're just kind of active at night. I think it's partly because they very, very much like being underneath that light. But I mean, that light is so very bright that if I go all the way down that direction, another 500, 600 feet, I can still see that light very clearly. It's extremely bright. Yeah. So, yep. I thought for sure that if I boarded this thing up a bunch and made sure that they were sealed in the goat house extremely well, maybe they would sleep in there. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's plywood. In fact, I think I was able to get 3/4 inch or thicker plywood, and that's what I put on the floor as some pressure treated or outdoor treated, very, very thick plywood. And then we, of course, treated it again and then painted it. And my daughter painted the inside this odd color. I can't remember why we had the pink, but we had a bunch of this pink, or maybe we had a bunch of a very weird off-color red and white paint, and we mixed them. I can't remember what it was, but I had her go in there and paint the insides because, the goats will poop and pee just kind of wherever. That's totally good with them. And so we have all this, it's very thick floors. I guess it's not well insulated along the sides, but it does stop the wind, and it is very well sealed on this second floor right here. We were a lot more careful with our cuts compared to here, and that's because this wood is actually recovered wood, and it used to have the 4x4s on the inside instead of the outside. And in fact, actually, not over there, but I think over there we have them on the inside. Anyway, so it's kind of funny. What are you guys doing? Yeah. And oddly, the fence finally keeps them in on this side. We used to have some very, very big problems with goats escaping, but it turned out they weren't going over. They weren't being like mountain goats and climbing. They were being tunneling goats and going underneath the dang fence. Isn't that right, Meat? Actually, the girls never leave. That's the boys. They get their horns up underneath the fence and they just pull up until they got an area the size of, a grapefruit. And then since they're such small goats, they can go right through that. Yeah, here you go. That's actually 2 goats. That's a black one, and that's Lucky there, or not Lucky, Junior. And they could totally be in here. None of these goats would, well, maybe that goat might stop them, but they're just going to go ahead and lay right there. And the ground is not soaking wet, but it's not dry. and they could totally be up here next to the building, but they're right there. You guys are silly goats. Yes. Well, whatever. At least you guys are in there now. Although I think it's because you found something that you want to eat in there. Not because, hey, we're out of the cold a little bit and it's nice in here. No, no. Yeah, I'd like to put some heat lamps out here, but I really don't want to cook my goats in case something stupid happens. So just keeping an eye on what I could possibly do out here, because it doesn't get cold more than a handful of weeks every year, but it does get down. And I mean, most of my goats are actually totally fine with the cold. They'll go places that are not the warmest place, and they'll decide that's where they want to go sleep. And you know, I'm not going to come out here and try to give them a lesson on where to be and how to be a goat. So yeah, kind of the hands off, you guys do whatever you're going to do approach. Oh, and there's Meep. You can actually hear her. That scratching sound is she is digging a hole in that little block you see right there. That's a salt block, and I got these tiny little ones that are the size of bricks, and they would chew them up. And then my brother actually got this salt block that must be for cows or something. It's the size of a square bowling ball, if such a thing existed. And we put it all the way to the back there because this house is, even though it doesn't have a roof anymore, the second floor is an extremely effective weather guard. And so that salt block has been there for about a year now because they don't kill the salt block very quickly. All right, well, sounds like Alaric has found something to bark at over there. I better go check it out. That's a long video.